And we're live.
With Paranormal Spirits. Place we come to get our booze on. We talk about the booze, things that go bump in the night. And I get to do that with all my booze. I'm Mike Black. To my left, my lovely and talented wife, Alyssa.
I'm talented today.
You're talented today.
I'm not delicious, but I'm talented.
I didn't say you weren't delicious. I didn't list that off.
Hello.
Straight across from me, I have my best friend, sidekick, confidant, the lovely and talented John Burkett. Aren't you glad I didn't say delicious?
You've never tasted. I don't know.
I've never tasted you. I don't know.
Oh, God. And we've gone there.
It's a little salty.
Oh,
Well, last time I was delicious.
I don't think that I want to. Oh, we got a great story for you tonight. We're going out west in the United States, and we're going to talk about Skinwalkers. But before we do that, let's talk about all the places you can find us on the web. If you're listening on a podcast right now, you can go to YouTube at 3B Paranormal Spirits and find us on YouTube and watch all our videos and watch us act silly in front of each other.
But subscribe if you do.
Yeah, hit that subscribe button. If you want to get the notification, you can click the little bell too, because the bell's like right there, I think. Isn't it? Like subscribe's right here, the bell's right there. Yeah, subscribe is right there. And the bell's right there. You can click both of those. And
Sure.
So if you want to catch us on TikTok or X or Instagram, you can go to paranormal_spirits, and I'm going to spell it out right there, and you could look at it. It's DASH for the dash spirit. You won't be able to see it until later. That'll be in post-production.
I'm looking for it.
Yeah, it's not there yet.
Lord have mercy.
And then we have a website that's paranormal-spirits.com.
I'm sorry. I'm going to try to stop yawning. I'm having a hard time.
Okay.
I'm just letting you know.
Okay. You want some Monster? Maybe a Red Bull?
No, I just need to drink more
Spice it up.
alcohol.
Red Bull. How about a Red Bull and Tesoro?
So good. You knock it, but let me tell you what. That was delicious. So good.
I just remember the Red Bull and
Jaeger that everybody did back in college.
Hangovers.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't go that far.
So our paranormal-spirits.com, that's our website, and it's also our kind of a landing page. You can get to Boozy's Boutique.
Hello.
God, I can't talk, and I haven't had anything to drink yet. You can pick up dad caps, trucker caps, Boozy's koozies. You can pick up racerback tees, regular tees. They all got funny sayings and pictures on them and that kind of stuff. And that's all the places that you can find us. Tonight we start off every night. God, I can't talk tonight. We start off every night with a drink when we're recording. Huh?
You need to start over, dear?
No.
Need a reset?
No. I'm not resetting.
Need a reset?
Need no stinking reset.
Reset.
And John over there with the clear liquor in his glass is drinking Fortaleza Blanco.
Excuse me.
It's a unicorn tequila because you can't find it anywhere. Alyssa is drinking... What are you drinking again?
Lafroig Select.
Lafroig Select, a non-age statement. I am drinking Casa Noble Añejo. I'm the odd man out tonight. I'm drinking tequila.
So is he.
So am
I'm the
I.
odd man
Okay.
out.
You're
I'm
the
drinking
odd man out.
scotch.
Scotch.
Mine's just straight out distill.
Yeah.
I'm drinking the
Mine has
manly
been-
drink.
Mine has been whiskey-fied.
A little bit.
So
It's good though.
So do we say Cilantro or do we say cilantro?
The only Celtic or beverage on the table is
Yeah, I think she's just going to have to adapt here.
I'll say what I want.
Cilantro.
Do what I want. Cilantro.
Chin Chin.
I'll just mix them up.
Chindamo. I've been rewatching The Sopranos for it's the 25th
Yes,
anniversary.
I saw that. You can watch it now. I need to get. This is my time, babe. This is my time
Okay.
because I can see it.
I'm already in season 3. I started a few days ago. I blew through them, but I've seen it 3 times already. Every 3 or 4 years, I'll rewatch the entire series.
I love that show, that series.
Gabagoo. She was abusive to the staff.
So Tonight, like I say, we're going to talk about skinwalkers. And I usually don't start off with an account where someone has had an interaction with something. Usually save the stories till later on in the podcast. But this one I wanted to start off with because this one really got to me. And this is on one of those places that you can go that you can read all the submissions that people put in.
You can go to the Navajo Res.
Online.
Gotcha.
You write your story and you submit it to, it's one of those places that I got it. So here you go. Hey everyone, I'm not asking for help. I don't think anyone can help me now. I am not looking for notoriety, so I will post this anonymously. I'm afraid to let anyone near me. I don't want it to attach to you. I'm genuinely scared for my life. I stumbled upon something that I can't explain. I just want there to be a record of it. These things exist. I don't do drugs. I don't even drink. I have never been under psychiatric care. 3 weeks ago, I decided to take a camping trip to Deer Creek State Park in Utah. It was supposed to be a peaceful getaway for myself from the chaos of everyday life. I am a software analyst for a company that you would recognize in Salt Lake City. I had no fucking idea it would turn into a nightmare. On the second night, I heard strange noises around my campsite. Rustlings, whispers, and an eerie feeling I was being watched. I dismissed it as it was my imagination playing tricks on me, blaming it on the isolation and darkness of the woods. I swear at one point I heard it call my name in my dad's voice. He has been dead for 10 years. I sat by the dying fire. I saw something moving in the shadows. It wasn't an animal. It was too humanoid. I couldn't make out its features, just a silhouette against the trees. I called out, thinking it might be another camper, but then there was no response. I called again, still no response. The air became thick and electric. Fear gripped me and I fumbled for my flashlight, shining it toward the figure. What I saw still haunts my dreams. It was a creature, or I think it was, with eyes that glowed like burning embers. Its body contorted and shifted, and it was almost as if it was phasing from one shape to another. I stumbled backward, tripping over my camping gear. The creature approached, its movements unnatural. I could feel malevolence radiating from it. Panic set in and I ran. I left all my gear, my tent, all of it. I didn't stop until I reached my car. Driving away from that place, I kept watching in the rearview mirror. I nearly wrecked on one curve. I couldn't get away from that fast enough. Since then, I have been plagued by nightmares. I swear I have seen it lurking in the shadows even outside my home. I called the cops 2 different times. Each time they show up and it leaves, and it's back as soon as they're gone. I can't escape it. I've read about skinwalkers online, but I never thought they could be real. Last night I saw it again outside my window, standing in the shadows, outside my house in the backyard. Its eyes locked onto mine and I felt a shiver down my spine. I don't know how it found me, but the fear is paralyzing. I dropped to the floor and waited till daylight. I've tried staying with friends, changing locations, but it's always there watching. I feel like I'm losing my mind. I can't sleep. Every creak or rustle sends me into a state of panic. It's as if this thing is relentless. I don't know what it wants, but I can sense its intent is to do me harm. It feels like I'm trapped in a nightmare with no way out. The creature's presence is suffocating, a constant reminder that I'm never truly alone. Sleep has become a distant memory. When I do sleep, I dream, and that thing is always there. Every corner, every shadow seems to harbor that thing. I've become a prisoner in my own home, and the paranoia is pushing me to the edge. I know what you're thinking. This is some sort of made-up shit, or this guy is full of it. Total bullshit. I know you think this, because this is exactly what I would have thought only a few short weeks ago. To those who doubt the authenticity of my story, I envy your skepticism. I wish this were a fabrication, a figment of my imagination. But the cold reality is I'm living a waking nightmare. This shit can't be real, and yet it is. I feel like I'm losing my mind. And I think, why me? What the fuck did I do to bring this on myself? Who the hell am I that it chose me? I know that I'm going to die. I know this is how it's going to end. Death is inevitable. It's coming, and there is nothing I can do to stop it. I can only choose how. God forgive me. True believer.
That was deep.
It is, isn't it? But it's all made up shit. I mean, unless it's not. You know, flying saucers were made up shit until...
I mean, if you really think that, you should probably consult with a Native American shaman.
We'll get to that.
Navajo specifically.
It gets harder than you think.
That's what she said.
Yeah.
Dear Lord.
Or she didn't. According to Wikipedia, in Navajo culture, a skinwalker is a type of harmful witch who has the ability to turn into, possess, or disguise himself as an animal. The term is never used for healers in the Navajo language. Yi Nablushi translates to, by means of it, it goes on all fours. And we've talked about skinwalkers before in one of our episodes, episode 18, when we did werewolves and origin stories. We talked about the skinwalkers at that time. So the difference between the witches and healers in the Navajo community, it says, while community healers and cultural workers are known as medicine men and women, or other positive terms in the community, witches are always seen as evil. They perform harmful ceremonies, manipulative magic. It's a perversion of the good works that the medicine people do. And in order to practice their good magic or good works, sometimes they have to learn about evil magic as well so that they're able to combat it. But people who choose to become witches in the Navajo culture are seen as corrupt. And Navajo witches, including skinwalkers, which that's just a form of a Navajo witch, represent the antithesis of Navajo cultural values. It's not tolerated amongst their people. They work hard to prevent it and cure it in their daily behavior. However, when it exists, their laws have always said that when a person becomes a witch, they have forfeited their humanity and their right to exist, so they should be killed.
Yikes.
Yeah, so they don't play. But evidently, it's not that easy to kill a skinwalker. So it says trying to kill one may lead to a witch seeking revenge. Successful eradication typically demands the expertise of a potent shaman acquainted with spells and rituals capable of reflecting the skinwalker's malevolence back on themselves. An alternative method is shooting the creature with bullets coated in white ash. I don't know what the white ash does, but...
like, just white, like burn
ash.
some wood and get the white part out of the ash? And
all it says is white ash. But precision is essential. The shot must strike the witch in the neck or the head to be effective.
zombies.
Zombies.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
I was going to say, is it something like, what is it that you have to have? A silver bullet for a werewolf?
For a werewolf, yeah. Blessed silver. So
Unless it's American Werewolf in London, then just regular old
anything.
bullets will do the job.
it depends on who wrote the script.
Those English werewolves are just plain old bullets.
Yeah.
It's actually an American werewolf.
I'm sorry,
yeah,
you're right.
There you go.
I'm sorry.
But, so, no, wait a second, though. It was an American who went to England who got bit by
And an English.
an English werewolf.
Well, we don't
so
know
which is it?
what the one that bit him was.
Yeah, we don't.
It was just out there on the moors.
In the moors.
Don't go on the moors after dark.
Okay, just like Fight Club, the first thing you need to know about skinwalkers is you don't talk about skinwalkers. It is actually considered taboo to speak of skinwalkers among traditional Navajo people. It is believed that speaking of their existence aloud can bring about bad things to you. Because of this, traditional Navajo people are very secretive about this and don't usually share their information with non-Navajo or non-Indigenous people. And unlike the legends from Europe, where we have so much that's written about werewolves and things like that, the Navajo history is pretty much a spoken history. They don't have a lot of writing that's written their history isn't written down.
Except for in cave paintings, right?
Except for in cave paintings. And that makes it very difficult to do the research when you're trying to find out something about skinwalkers, because they're not going to talk to you. You're not going to be able to go, you're not going to be able to Google
Right,
it,
right.
so it's going to get pretty difficult. Another reason the Navajos are so secretive about skinwalkers is due to the explosion of media and the popularity of the skinwalker within media, books, movies, anime, games, and they believe that it has a negative impact on their culture and understanding of their culture by non-Navajo people.
That damn ranch out there in Utah. People.
I know, right?
That damn ranch.
Well, one good example is J.K. How do you say her last name?
Rolling.
Rolling.
That was Rowling.
Rolling, I think.
See, I don't know.
That was Rolling.
Harry-
Rowling.
It's either Rolling or Rowling.
The Harry Potter lady.
Yeah, the
Right.
Harry Potter lady.
Harry
So
Potter
she
lady.
creates the character of the Skinwalker in that Harry Potter series.
I wouldn't. I really had
Yeah,
no
I-
idea. I've seen like
I've heard
I
of
saw
it.
about 3 minutes of one of the films.
Didn't you-
That is-
didn't you
I
read
read
all
them
that?
all.
That is it.
I read them all, and
Did
I
you
watched
read
every
about the
movie.
Skinwalker?
I don't think it was called a Skinwalker
What-
in
I
it,
thought-
was it?
Was it that? Was its name Dobie or is it some kind of sock elf or something like that?
That is a house elf. His name is Dobby.
No,
don't
okay,
know.
there you go.
Rude.
All I know is Muggles and
Rude.
Anyway, in the movies, the Skinwalker in the J.K. Rowling or Harry Potter series was greatly misrepresented. And according to Adrian Keene, who is an indigenous peoples academic, stated, and I quote, "We as Native people are now opened up to a barrage of questions about these beliefs and traditions. But these are not things that need or should be discussed by outsiders at all. I'm sorry if it seems unfair, but that's how our culture survives."
well, how did word about it get out in the first place if somebody didn't tell some outsiders?
Well, the same way with that you find out about what it's like to break an Amish or whatever it is when they leave.
Yes.
And
Yes.
and there's a thing on
Is there
YouTube.
like a Navajo Rumspringer?
I don't know. It's got like you got the Amish and you got the Mormons who got people that have turned around, and what's the girl that used to be? She was on King of Queens.
Oh,
That
Scientology.
that came out about Scientology and all that.
Leah Remini.
Yeah.
Yes.
Leah Remini. Gabago.
Oh, she used to be so fine.
Mm-hmm. King
I mean,
Used
not that
to
she's,
be so
not that she's an
fine.
unattractive woman now, but she was just really fine. when
in
that show
that
came
movie
out.
Old School, too. She was really good. She was
I
really
digress. Okay, so this is what we believe that we know about skinwalkers. First of all, they're witches. Their names are Yi Nadalushi, and it's just one type of witch. There are several types.
Bless you.
Yeah, thank you. Several types of witches within the Navajo culture, and they do not believe that skinwalkers, or these witches rather, are supernatural, but they're just humans who have studied the dark arts.
Which is supernatural.
Yeah, and able
Which
to
is supernatural.
well, they're able to harness those dark spiritual forces, and the witches are not to be confused with medicine men who use their abilities to harness the positive spiritual forces. And the way they evolve into witches is sometimes these witches start off as healers and respected spiritual guides, that kind of thing, who later choose to use their powers for evil. And they can be male or female, but nearly always skinwalkers are male. And they walk freely among the tribe during the day, and then at night is when they secretly transform under the cover of night.
Under
So-
the cover of night.
Right.
Sounds witchy.
Under the cover of night.
I was thinking the same thing.
I don't know that.
So how do you become a skinwalker?
How do you?
Well, here you go. To become a skinwalker, one must undergo an initiation within a clandestine society that demands a commission of heinous acts. Typically, the killing of a close family member, often a sibling. Upon completing this macabre task, the individual attains supernatural abilities, enabling them to metamorphose into various animals.
Metamorphosite?
And metamorphose.
Morph.
There you go. Let me bring it down, John. Enabling them to morph into various animals.
There we are.
Did you get it that time?
It's less syllables.
Okay.
Morph.
So anyway, they morph into various animals. Usually it's like coyotes, wolves, foxes, cougars, dogs, bears.
Oh my.
Oh my.
Oh my. Lions and tigers and bears. Oh my. And it's although they possess the ability to assume the guise of any creature, the name Skinwalker stems from the practice of wearing the skins of the animals they transform into.
But don't you have to? What you want to transform into, you've got to put that skin on to do it.
Yes, you need to wear the skin. Additionally, some adorn themselves with the animal skulls or antlers, which is to amplify their power. So this secret society of skinwalkers gets together in these isolated places and caves and secluded areas for the initiation of new members and strategic planning of their activities, inflicting harm on individuals through black magic. Also conducting ominous ceremonial rites. These rituals are reminiscent of tribal customs involving dance, feasts, rituals, sand painting, but they have been tainted with the dark magic. Now, allegedly, the wrongdoers, the ones that are becoming the skinwalkers, partake in disturbing practices such as, and here's the trigger warnings.
Nice.
Here they come.
Is that your favorite part?
Yeah. Oh, necrophilia with
nice.
female corpses.
Oh, specific.
Well, most skinwalkers are male.
Yeah, but it's 2023.
Yeah.
2024.
Let's be open-minded about it, right?
It's 2024 now.
Maybe they're not so open-minded there, you know. They engage in cannibalism.
Yes.
Committing, here's the other one. I don't even know if I can say this word. It's the one about brothers and sisters and mamas and
Incest?
son. Oh, I guess you can say it. Or might I have to cut it?
I think you can say that.
Can we say that? Okay. And
I think you can say that.
engaging in grave robberies. Now,
You got to rob the grave to get the dead body to have necrophilia with.
yes. Okay. And this goes back. I want to.
That is so
Dead bodies
disturbing.
don't grow on trees.
Right. Exactly. So I want to go back to the very first episode we did was the Bray Road Beast. Mm-hmm. And this was what some people thought was a skinwalker.
Not in Michigan. Where is it?
Yeah, but think about this. So
I can't remember. It's Michigan, Wisconsin,
Is
or
Michigan.
Minnesota. They're all the same thing.
It's Wisconsin.
Same thing.
was it Wisconsin?
It's Wisconsin.
Yeah, okay. So the Bray Road Beast, remember the first time he was seen was in 1930 something by the
Right.
security guard.
But then
that's
seen
walking
again
in. Yeah, but where did he see him?
in the grave yard.
He was digging in the burial ground or
Right.
burial mounds. And here it talks about the skinwalkers having to dig up bodies to do the bump and grind with them or whatever else they did.
Ain't nothing wrong with a little bit of bump and grind.
So, so maybe that's what the Brave Road Beast was after all. Maybe it was a skinwalker.
Bow, bow.
So,
Maybe.
anyway, so through these gatherings, the skinwalkers undergo shape-shifting. They change back and forth into the animal forms. Most of the time, they're walking around unclothed, even if they're in their human form. And the only thing they're wearing is beaded jewelry and ceremonial paint.
And that skin.
No, if they're in their human form,
Oh,
they're
so
just
in
walking
daylight, there's just, you ought to be easy to spot them. They're the naked
only-
dude, the naked
naked
guys
dudes.
walking around the res. Right? With,
Did you remember the part where we talked about they went to these secluded places?
oh, I
and-
thought you meant like in the daytime. Like
No.
When they're,
This is we're still on the gathering to create
Oh, okay. I was
skinwalkers
like,
and do their things.
oh, it's a naked guy. He must be a skinwalker.
Oh my god!
Literally.
Literally.
A skinwalker.
Yeah, okay.
And we're here.
So when they get together to do these things, the skinwalkers will just be wearing beaded jewelry and most likely nude, ceremonial paint. The leader of the skinwalkers is typically a very old man and has been a skinwalker for a long time. So it's kind of like he graduates into that as he gets older and takes on that position.
So they're not immortal. They age.
They're not supernatural. They're humans, yeah.
Okay.
So the selection of the animal form that they take on is very deliberate based on the specific attributes that they need. For instance, if they need to be able to move fast and have great vision and be able to see, they might choose a hawk. If they need great strength, they might choose a bear. Typically, bears are not chosen because those are considered sacred animals.
Oh, yes.
So the dark arts don't mess with them very often. That's my understanding.
It's harder to kill than a coyote, too.
It is. But, if they need strength, endurance, stealth, claws, teeth, whatever, they might choose a puma or a mountain lion or a cougar or whatever you want to call it. But anyway, also, they can change from one to another if they're being pursued. In other words, I'm chasing down a coyote, and I think it's a skinwalker or whatever. And the coyote's trying to escape, but he's got dogs on him or something like that. Well, he may change into a hawk or something so that he can fly off. I thought it was really interesting.
That's interesting.
They can hop around just to evade capture. And because of the practice of the wearing the skins to change into this animal, it says the Navajo community deems it taboo for its member to don the pelts of predatory animals. However, garments made from sheepskin, leather, and buckskin are deemed acceptable. So they frown on it if you wear coyote, wolf, whatever. Among other abilities that the skinwalkers have, they have the ability to seize control of bodies of unsuspecting human victims by establishing eye contact.
Like a vampire.
Yeah. So they possess them and can manipulate their victims and compel them to perform actions and other words that they wouldn't normally say. When transformed into the animal form, a discerning observer can identify them by their distinct eyes. We talked about that before. Their eyes look different. So as an animal, their eyes look very human. When they're in their human form, their eyes look like that of an animal. They also have, they also have other powers, including the ability to delve into people's minds, manipulate thoughts, behavior. They can also induce disease, illness, wreak havoc on property, even inflict death. Individuals recounting their encounters with these malevolent entities share various indicators signaling the presence of a skinwalker. These signs include audible disturbances around the homes, such as knocking on windows, banging on walls, scraping noises on the roof. At times, these things have even been seen looking through windows.
Sounds like a bunch of Arizona Bigfoots out there.
So, but people have seen them running down the road. They will manifest in front of vehicles and potentially leading to accidents. There's even been an account of, I swear it was in New Mexico is what I read. A New Mexico state trooper said he saw a skinwalker out alongside the highway that was running next to him. So, in addition to their shape-shifting powers, it's believed that skinwalkers can command creatures of the night, such as wolves, owls, bending them to their will.
Of the night, see?
Yeah, just like Dracula. Some are reputed to possess the ability to summon spirits of the deceased, animating corpses to launch attacks against adversaries. And due to these ominous power, individuals of Native American descent often refrain from venturing out alone at night.
Interesting.
I don't think I'd go out at night either, but not if there were skinwalkers about. They possess supernatural abilities that defy comprehension. They're able to outrun cars, make remarkable leaps, traveling up high cliffs with unparalleled speed. They prove extremely elusive, and the tracks that they leave are larger than those of the ordinary animals. So if the guy's in the form of a wolf, his tracks are going to be larger than normal wolf tracks. And just like we saw on that episode of Skinwalker Ranch, where they see this, I think it was second season.
I was about to say which season.
Season 2 or
I
season
haven't
3.
seen
I
season
forget.
4 yet, but
It might have been 3, where the guy came out and said, "Yeah, This is a guy that worked with Bigelow out at Skinwalker, and he said, yeah, this thing jumped out of a ditch and we tracked it for a while.
I don't remember
And
that.
oh man, the tracks were they were huge.
What is the original story with the people who owned it before Bigelow? Mm-hmm. When they bought it, was the first day they moved the cattle in.
Yeah, and
They said,
I'll get to that. But you can't talk about Skinwalkers without mentioning Skinwalker Ranch, so I'm gonna get to that in a minute.
That's not Navajo country. That's Ute.
Actually, it's both, or it was.
Oh, there
The
was
Ute
a
tribe-
war over the land.
Yeah, and I'm going to get to that too. So I'm not
Hold
going to leave
tight.
you hanging.
Yeah, sorry.
Hold tight.
I'm not going to leave you hanging on that. Anyway, they tend to be motivated by greed, anger, envy, spite, or revenge, and acting out acts of violence, taking lives, but also plundering graves for personal gain. And then again, the Bray Road Beast thing, digging in the graveyards. The thing about Skinwalkers is they have to continue killing, or yet they don't get to live. They'll end up dying if they don't. If they don't continue that cycle of killing.
It seems like a lot of work.
It does.
Doesn't seem worth it.
So the Long Walk. You ever heard of the Long Walk? So the Navajo Witch Purge of 1878 originated as a cultural response to the influx of people moving onto their lands. Following a series of conflicts, with the U.S. Army, the Navajo were forcibly expelled from their territory and compelled to endure the grueling Long Walk.
Oh, okay. This is like the Trail of Tears kind of situation.
Similar to Bosque Redondo, or what became Fort Sumner in New Mexico in 1864.
Where were they originally?
I don't know. Find out. I don't know where they marched them from. Well, it would have been the Four Corners area, because that's that's where they hail from. During their time at Bosque Redondo, the Navajo faced hardships including tainted water, failed crops, rampant illness, and significant loss of life, resulting in a drastic reduction in their numbers. And after 4 years, the government acknowledged its error, permitting the Navajo to return to their ancestral lands in the Four Corners area. There you go.
Oh, all right.
So throughout this period, while they were in the Fort Sumner area, many of the members of the tribe turned to shape-shifting as a means to escape the harsh conditions, while the remainder of the community believed that their gods had forsaken them. So upon returning to their homeland, conditions improve, and yet this fear of Skinwalkers, whom they held responsible for their suffering during the Long Walk and afterwards when they were on this at Fort Sumner, persisted. And accusations of witchcraft arose, leading to the pursuit and hunting of suspected Skinwalkers. The discovery of a collection of witch artifacts wrapped in a copy of the Treaty of 1868 triggered dire consequences. In 1878, the Navajo Witch Purge unfolded, resulting in the execution of 40 suspected Navajo witches. This was an endeavor to restore harmony and balance, because they're all about, the Navajo are all about having balance. You have to have the good and the bad. And so some notable sightings and contemporary sightings of these Skinwalkers are more trickster-like in nature. There's not a lot of people that are ever attacked by them. It's just tricks being pulled. And many people talk about seeing the vehicles being chased by these Skinwalkers. They'll run alongside a vehicle as fast as a car. sometimes turning back into a human and pounding on the hood when they stop.
Oh.
Yeah.
No,
And
thank you.
so this one account is a guy, he was working on a ranch, and while he's working on the ranch, he hears this laughter coming from where he keeps his livestock. So he goes over to the barn. They had some sheep pens over there, and he's investigating. When he walks in there, all of the sheep in this pen are huddled over in a corner, except for a lone ram, which was standing upright and laughing in a remarkably human manner. Upon locking eyes with the ram, the man realizes he has human eyes, after which the creature nonchalantly reverts to walking on all fours.
No.
Some people have even claimed that they've seen these things running through the night and transforming into fiery balls and leaving colorful streaks behind them. So, hey, there's crazy stuff that happens out on Skinwalker Ranch. So I wouldn't.
Yeah, a lot of crazy stuff out there.
I wouldn't be surprised at that at all. In one notable incident from the 1980s, a family traversing the Navajo reservation encountered a mysterious entity leaping from a ditch as they navigated a sharp curve. Described as black and hairy and clothed in shirts and pants, the figure eluded them. Days later, the family experienced disruptive drumming and chanting outside their Flagstaff, Arizona home. When they look outside, they see 3 shadowy men lingering near the fence. For whatever reason, they could not scale the fence, and they departed shortly after. Now, if they can climb on top of a mesa and jump over cars in the single bound and all that, I don't know why they couldn't get over the fence, but they couldn't.
Maybe it's electric fence.
I don't
Maybe
know,
that's the
man.
ticket
Maybe
right
cyclone.
there.
Go take it and you have electricity
I
running.
don't know. But anyway, so
Maybe there was white ash all over the
maybe there was. Maybe they had a burn pile out there or something. So these things normally where you'll hear about these encounters are in the Four Corners area, which spans southwest Colorado, southeast Utah, northeast Arizona, and northwest New Mexico. And you can't talk about the Four Corners area and Skinwalkers unless you talk about Skinwalker Ranch. Right. So, Skinwalker Ranch. In 1994, Terry and Gwen Sherman were scouring northeastern Utah for a remote property where they could raise their teenage son and 10-year-old daughter when they found an incredible 512-acre sprawling ranch in the
It's Uinta.
You're right. Uinta Basin. The remote property was unoccupied for almost 7 years. It had been in the hands of the Meyer family for 4 decades, but they had moved to Salt Lake City and only checked on the homestead every couple times a year. Now, the home itself needed work. The owners had placed deadbolts on the inside and outside of every door and barred all the windows. Despite this being out in the middle of nowhere, relatively safe and isolated. So the elderly couple agreed to sell the ranch, but with one condition, that the Shermans were prohibited from digging on the property.
That's still a thing. Although the new owner pretty much thrown that rule out the window.
Yeah.
Brandon has said, I'm going to dig.
Yeah. It says, but what was meant to be a dream home for the Sherman family quickly turned into a nightmare. Just a year and a half after they purchased the property, the Sherman family opened up to reporters revealing the strange and unexplainable events that they'd been experiencing. So almost immediately after moving onto the ranch, the family claimed to have a harrowing encounter with an enormous wolf-like creature. The beast, which they described as being 3 times larger than a wolf, approached, circling them as it calmly closed in.
So it went up to the cattle in the pen. Like, that's what? No.
So it suddenly darted at incredible speeds towards a small calf, attacking it. Despite the family's attempts to kill the strange animal, it remained unscathed and even survived being shot at point-blank range several times. Uninjured, the creature headed into the wilderness where it seemingly vanished into thin air. While the family reported this and subsequent encounter to the local wildlife authority, they were informed that no wolf populations had existed in the area for over 70 years. So they had gotten rid of all the wolves. We don't know what you're talking about. There's no wolves out here. And yet, I mean, we saw tracks when we watched the show. Adeline and I watched it. And you can see the tracks there. And it's like probably 4 times the size of like a lab.
Well, they said when Bigelow did those guys were saying portals would open up and beings would walk through and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So the family would later learn about the Navajo legend of skinwalkers, shape-shifting shamans who assume any animal that form they desire. These evil beings possess supernatural abilities and are known to cause harm or mischief to others. It turned out that some locals believed that the Sherman Ranch property was in the path of a skinwalker. Then on the night of March 12, 1997, after the ranch had been sold off, biochemist Calm Kelleher, working with Bigelow's National Institute for Discovery Science, or NIDS for short, claimed to see a large humanoid creature spying on the research team from a tree. After Kelleher fired at the creature with a rifle, it disappeared. It was then, and this is a quote from Kelleher, that I saw it, a single obvious oval track about 6 inches in diameter, embedded deeply in the patch of snow. It looked unusual. A single large print in the snow with 2 sharp claws protruded from the rear of the mark, going a couple of inches deeper. It almost looked like a bird of prey, maybe a raptor, but huge, and the depth of the print would have been from a very heavy creature. So the way Skinwalker Ranch became Skinwalker Ranch, and this is when I was talking about the Utes and the Navajos living in that same area. So to understand the reasons why it became that way, if you look at the history that surrounds the ranch, it dates back to the times when the Navajo and the Ute Native American tribes occupied the area around Skinwalker Ranch. So the Navajo and the Ute tribes met near the area of Skinwalker Ranch, and their relationship was instantly full of conflict and hate. The Navajo, being a very violent and aggressive tribe at the time of this incident, enslaved many members of the Ute tribe. The Utes, having hated the Navajo tribe for enslaving their people for so long, eventually placed a curse over the land, which is now Skinwalker Ranch. In fact, the Utes put a curse on the land that supposedly caused skinwalkers to come in and start inhabiting the area. Since the Navajo tribe feared these creatures, the Utes used this curse as a means of retaliation for the many years that the Navajos had kept the native Ute people as slaves. So I've got a good first-hand account here. This is an unidentified encounter, but it was in rural northern New Mexico in 1987. My ex-husband may have seen a skinwalker one night. He worked the overnight shift in the big city of Santa Fe, New Mexico. Well, Santa Fe is bigger than the small village we were from that had 2-lane roads to travel to get to the main highway. He would leave our house at 10 p.m. to get to work by 11 p.m. One night I got a frantic call from him when he arrived at work. He sounded almost hysterical. He said he was driving down the usual road to get to the highway and came up to what he thought was a cow sitting in the middle of the road, like they do sometimes. Oh. Yeah, when they get out the fence, they'll lay down on the road sometimes. Okay. So he slammed on his brakes and honked on the horn, annoyed that he was going to be late. He waited a bit and honked again, and the cow stood up. But he realized it was standing up on its hind legs.
Nope. Not a cow.
Yeah.
Ain't never seen no cow stand on 2 legs.
No.
Then he realized it wasn't a cow. Maybe it was a coyote or a wolf. He then saw it was a naked man as it turned to face him, but the head was that of a dog. The creature slammed its hands onto the hood of the car and then bounded off into the hills in 3 steps.
What kind of dog? Like Like a Winston looking? Or
She didn't say. Yeah, it might have been
bulldog,
like
like
it been a French bulldog or something. I don't know, but it was a dog
that
face.
seems to fit.
I'm
physiologically
assuming.
more like
I'm
a
assuming that
bulldog.
it would have probably been a long snouted wolf coyote type dog. Would be my thought. I'm just guessing here, but
Long snouted wolf coyote type dog.
yeah, like a German Shepherd or something like that. That would be
Okay.
my guess
Okay.
because it fits with the narrative.
Got you.
Okay. So the creature slammed its hand on the hoods of the car and then bounded off into the hills in 3
That
steps.
tiny chihuahua head on top of a full size
Yeah,
human.
that'd be weird. He couldn't make out where it went, but my ex said he drove as fast as he possibly could to get out of the area and to the well-lit highway. Once he arrived at work 20 minutes later, he called me, not making much sense. When he calmed down a bit, we both tried to make out what he possibly could have seen. Even years later, we talked about it once in a while. Maybe a dog man, maybe a drunken man wearing a mask. It wasn't until years later we came up with the possibility of Skinwalker. Maybe it was some distortion of the darkness in headlights during late night driving. Maybe he was hypnotized by driving, but he just still thinks he saw something out of the ordinary. And I just want to leave you with this thought. It's too bizarre to picture being true. Skinwalkers. It's just
Okay.
too bizarre, right?
Well,
But-
especially the one that you just described.
But while being too bizarre to picture being true, it's too numerous to dismiss. Because this has been going on for ever. The Navajo have had skinwalkers as part of their culture. And therianthropes are seen throughout the world, so it's not a new thing.
Therianthrope?
Those people who change into animals.
Oh, yes.
Therianthropes. Lycanthrope is a person specifically that changes into a wolf. Grr.
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 That's a very interesting thing you say, though. Too bizarre.
I don't think that if you're a non-Navajo and you don't live in the Navajo Nation, you really need to worry about skinwalkers too much.
You don't think they travel? You think their powers weaken as they
I don't
get
know.
further away?
I did see I can't remember his name, but that Navajo gentleman talking about these who said that you're unlikely to encounter one on the East Coast.
Probably not.
Probably unlikely to ever encounter one outside the Navajo Nation.
I've heard of that. I've heard some stories where, and this was a Navajo man who was talking about it. And he said they draw their power from the mountains around there, and so it would have to be some place where they could draw their power from the mountains to make that transformation.
It's a big place though. Over 27,000 square miles spanning 3 states. The largest,
What is this?
the
area?
Navajo Nation.
Oh, okay.
It's the largest Native American nation, or in the country, and the largest population, Native American population, higher than Cherokee.
Well, I
It's-
don't know what I think about it, honestly. Here's what I do think. I think that up until just recently, if you said that you saw a flying saucer, people would think you're crazy.
Well,
And now even our government says, oh, yeah, they're out there. This is a little bit different, but
well, I think it's Skinwalker Ranch. There's a flying saucer under the ground there
I think
that's
so, too.
causing a lot of the activity there.
so what if, because Bigelow's people talked about at Skinwalker Ranch where they saw a portal open up, approximately 6 foot tall something walk through on 2 feet, bipedal. What if in another dimension, in another existence, there are those creatures that are what we would consider a wolf man or a skinwalker or something like that? And they're coming through these portals.
I don't know. This area is so large It is so far away from the UN to base, and that whatever is under the ground there can't be causing the whole thing.
No.
That's definitely affecting whatever is happening there.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. Do you ever see a series called is it Dark Winds? Pretty recent.
I don't think so.
I think it's AMC Plus on your Prime Video, but it's a great series. Almost all Native American cast,
Mm-hmm.
and season 1 essentially deals with their Navajo police trying to solve a double homicide that people are blaming on Skinwalkers. It is AMC Plus, so it's Joe Leaphorn and 2 Navajo police officers in the 1970s that are forced to challenge their own spiritual beliefs when they search for clues in a double murder case. Highly recommend that if you're interested in Skinwalkers and this stuff. But it's produced by Robert Redford and George R. Martin as well, so it's Game of Thrones.
Okay.
But you don't know, is this a person who's done these murders, or is this a Skinwalker at work? Because they're in the Navajo. These are Navajo police on the
Really?
Yeah.
Who was the guy that played in Urban Cowboy? Not John Travolta. The other guy.
There was somebody else
real
in
thin.
Urban Cowboy.
Yeah, there was one of
Travolta?
those guys that had the double first name. Scott Glenn, Scott Glenn, maybe.
Scott Glenn. There is a
Wasn't
right.
he? Yeah,
That's the guy from that kind of looks like Kung Fu, but not. But it's
yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's
Scott Glenn
Scott
is
Glenn.
Wes.
yeah he plays in a movie. It was in the 80s, and I can't remember the name of it, but it was this down and out detective who's goes off into the to hang out with the Navajos to chase down this Skinwalker, and he ends up fighting this guy. And typical 80s movie, but it's actually a pretty decent movie in the fact that they touched on things like the things that you wouldn't normally see in Skinwalker movies. Skinwalker movies, the guy changes into this werewolf-looking thing and attacks and kills. And
Are you talking about Silverado?
no,
Silverado.
no, it wasn't that.
It was in the 80s?
Yeah, late 80s, early 90s, something like that. But he
The river.
he goes up there and he was overtaken by this Skinwalker. He was possessed by the Skinwalker simply from staring at him, so it was through the eyes. They made eye contact, just like it talks about here, when
Shadowhunter.
that's it, Shadowhunter. It's actually pretty decent. It talks about
1992.
oh, okay, I wasn't too far off. Late 80s, early 90s, yeah.
Oh, Scott Glenn. Oh.
A Los Angeles police detective and a Navajo tracker hunt a deadly tribal mystic called a Skinwalker.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I remember what Scott Glenn was kind of recently. He was the guy who trained Daredevil how to, when he was a kid, to fight blind and stuff.
Yeah.
He was in that
Dude,
Daredevil
he's been
series
in
on
a
Netflix.
bazillion shows.
Oh.
I mean, he's been prolific actor.
But it's a great way to see it skip. But they don't really. I'm not going to spoil anything but a lot of the series you don't know. You start to. Is this a supernatural thing, or is this just some sort of murder and there's some sort of other motive behind
That's
this?
the way.
Right?
That's the way Shadowhunters is.
And you don't really find out until the last episode of season 1.
With Shadowhunters, you never really know. I mean, you don't know if it was or it wasn't, supernatural.
Oh, you don't? There's no
No,
there's no resolution there?
There's no closure on that one.
Huh. Interesting.
That's the only Skinwalker thing I've ever watched.
Well,
Did you watch other than Skinwalker Ranch? I mean, that's.
Did you ever watch the movie Skinwalkers? It came out a few years ago.
Mm-hmm.
It was werewolves. It wasn't Skinwalkers, and it was lots of gunfights and crazy, over the top Michael Bay type stuff. It was just
Yeah, I would definitely Dark Winds.
Dark Winds is good.
is fantastic.
Yeah. That was it. I'm not going to call it a B movie because it was better than that, but which Shadowhunter?
Shadowhunter. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Shadowhunter's really good. It's a good movie, especially if you can get over the 80s hair and that kind of stuff.
Scott
Late
Glenn
80s
still has 80s hair.
I know, right? Any other takes, input on Shadow or Skinwalkers?
I don't know. The things that I've seen about it, it's sometimes confusing on whether or not it's a werewolf or if it's an actual skinwalker. I feel like those get confused.
Oh, I agree. I know they do.
It's by Hollywood, especially.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I think it's very interesting that the Navajo people truly believe that this is a legit thing, and they won't. I've seen many of them during interviews where they just don't talk about it. You know, You don't talk about it. You don't mention it because mentioning it or talking about it
can attract them.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen people refer to them as, what was it, flesh pedestrians?
Flesh pedestrians. I've heard that on a couple of different podcasts where
Yeah,
they don't call them skinwalkers. They call them flesh pedestrians.
I don't think that people Irish dudes in Texas really need to worry about skinwalkers from Navajo skinwalkers.
I don't know.
In
I hope not.
Arizona, New Mexico, and Utah.
I don't know.
It's definitely fascinating, though.
It is very fascinating. It's very, very, very rich culture that they have.
Remember the code talkers in World War II? There were Navajos. There was the one. Then they used Navajo.
Is it Navajo? I thought it was Cherokee or Comanche.
No, it's Navajo.
For what?
The code talkers.
The code talkers.
So they used them to
wind talkers.
The Japanese couldn't break that language. The Dene, like the Navajo language, and so they used Navajo soldiers to relay radio communications in the Pacific during World War II because the Japanese couldn't crack it.
Oh.
What was really interesting about that, though, is that the guy had somebody with him
to kill him if he got captured. They couldn't get captured.
Rather than let him be captured, he was to kill him.
Yeah, Nicolas Cage in case of the film, but
yeah, so that they couldn't crack the code. Isn't that
Really?
crazy? Yeah,
That is crazy.
yeah. Pretty
Interesting.
crazy. Better than a cyanide capsule. You know, you got somebody standing there with a.
There's something about the language that it's kind of like, you know, in Europe, Basque is like completely different than either Germanic or Romantic languages around it. Mm-hmm. No one knows. It doesn't have an Indo-European origin.
Where does it come from?
Nobody knows.
Yeah, the aliens gave it to him.
So it's a similar situation with Navajo as opposed to other Native American languages. It doesn't fit.
Definitely. Go ahead.
No, cool.
No, you.
No, you.
I was just going to say, I thought that Skinwalker Ranch, what I saw of it, I did not finish it like you and Adeline did, but I did see some of it. And once you got over homie's Alabama accent.
By God, he's country, ain't he?
He's the smartest sounding feller.
I know. Dude, he's got like a bazillion different
His brains
degrees.
have brains.
But then he talks like this.
I know. He's super smart. And, you know, that's the thing about people in the South. They always think we're stupid because we talk like this, you know.
But he's like an astrophysicist that worked for NASA. I mean, you cannot. That dude's
smart.
brains have brains.
I was reading some of his history, and he went out of high school and went to work for the military. Was it is it Redlands? Redlands? Something like that. It's the development arm of the military that makes weaponry. And he went to work for them fresh out of high school. Didn't even go to college. Or before he went to college, I guess I should say. Because he did go to college. But, yeah, went straight out of high school and did it. Dude he's
smart
brilliant.
Fella.
Brilliant.
But, you know, he's on Ancient Aliens.
Really?
He's been on Ancient Aliens for a few. Yes, because that's how that's the first time I had seen him.
Yeah,
and then when we were watching Skinwalker, I was like, oh, there's that home dude with his country accent.
Home dude.
I haven't seen him on Ancient Aliens.
Yeah, he's on there. He's on the more recent episodes.
Giorgio Sakadopoulos or whatever.
Sakadopoulos. But dude, he's got hair. He's got great hair. Just
he does have great
stands
hair.
Up forever.
And his tan's great too.
What'd you drink tonight, John?
Fortaleza and Liquid Death sparkling.
Alyssa?
I got me some
Not
Lafroig
together,
Select. I'm still working on it because it's.
Well, I had me some Casa Noble Añejo, and it's really, really good. If you're into añejos, come check us out. Make sure you like and subscribe on all the places you can do that.
Mm-hmm. Go check out some Skinwalker stuff.
Yeah.
It's quite interesting. It'll get your brain thinking.
It really will.
It really does.
It's like the whole Dogman thing. I'm starting to question that,
I think Dogman's bullshit, but
Well,
Are they Skinwalkers?
You haven't always thought it was bullshit.
well, no, I was always on it because it doesn't make any scientific sense.
It
at all.
doesn't. You're right.
A Bigfoot, my brain can make sense of
We
that.
need to do a Dogman.
Oh, we did. We did.
No, we didn't. We did werewolves. We did Bray Bees. We did Skinwalkers.
We did Dogman.
We didn't do a Dogman.
Yes, because we concluded.
No, we didn't.
Yeah, I think I'm pretty sure you're.
Negative Ghost Rider.
We're gonna have to go back and
We'll go back and
check that.
We'll check that while y'all are checking out our videos and our Instagrams and our TikToks and that kind of stuff.
And if anybody has any suggestions on what you'd like to hear about that you've heard about or have,
Oh, absolutely.
or would like to have us research it for you and talk about it.
I tell you what, if you send us an idea and we use it for an episode, I'll send you some free swag. How's that sound? Fair enough?
Or on the flip side, if there's a liquor you've been looking at that you want to try,
If it's available.
in our area, we will gladly try any suggestions as well.
Y'all have a good night.
Nighty night.